Michael, welcome to the How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast. Here we are, out and about. We're going to kick off with my big question. Why is it important to understand the different roles that are out there in the industry?
I'm originally from a town called Nuneaton. I worked after school as a Saturday boy, just shampooing, washing hair, and all your mindset is literally thinking that you are just going to be a junior to then go to a stylist, senior stylist, leading stylist, maybe a manager, salon owner. And I think when you're going through that training, you are literally, I don't know, you need to pass your exams, So you're so focused on those things. And it depends on the type of hairdresser that you are. I was always one that running before I could walk, always wanted to get to the next step. But I think where that was always kind of like, I always thought my vision or goal. And then I think it depends on the influence around you from like the people you work with, your tutors, your teachers and things like that. And depends on what courses you get pushed or kind of direction you go in. And I think if you're very fortunate to have that around you, a good influence, that if they are doing photo shoots or if they are doing London Fashion Week and things like that, then I think you've got more of a broader mindset. Where if you don't have that, then you're kind of like, well, where do I go? Is that just my whole sole purpose in life? Where I remember I was influenced by my hairdressing teacher to go and do a Vidal Sassoon cut and colour course, ABC, years ago. And I saved up to buy a car, but I didn't actually use that money to buy a car. I thought I don't need a car. I walk to work every day. So I utilised that money that I saved and I went to London and I did this course. But it wasn't about the course in general. It was more the awakening of everything. I came to London, saw there's more to life than the hometown that I lived in. Even though I won't forget, I'll say I'm from the Midlands. I'm not from up north. To anybody
So we're both Midlanders.
If anybody says from like the south, like
yeah, we're Midlanders.
We're Midlanders.
Yeah,
so for
100%.
me, I'm very Midland till I die.
Yes.
Even though I live here, but for me, it was just more the awakening. There's more to life than just working in a salon. And I think back then, so I was 17, 18, 19. It wasn't until I probably got to 22 that I realized kind of where I wanted. Well, I didn't even, well, still don't even know now where I'm going to go in life at 34. So for me, it was more that there's so much variety of life. But I think back then there wasn't really much for social media.
Why do you think then, as hairdressing, because I hear that conversation a lot, Michael, where people will say, there's a lot more to life than standing behind the chair.
Yeah.
Why is that important to understand for a hairdresser? Is it because, being behind the chair can be mundane and we need to have something greater? Or,
yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I remember working behind a chair and I loved it. I loved the people. I loved making people feel good about themselves, and you would take on a lot of their problems. I would go back home, I'd be lying in bed and thinking, I wonder how the divorce is going. I wonder how the court case is, or their operation, or, do you know, I'll go darker with that hair colour. Those little things you think of that you shouldn't have to be. Like anybody else in a different, job, they probably shut the shop, do their job and that's it. But where we're such creative people, where if you're doing that, the 4 to 6 week clients, well, it depends. I haven't worked in a salon in years.
We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. So you don't do any salon work?
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's one of those where that plays an effect. But then I grew up in a generation where only just Facebook was just becoming a thing and Instagram was just becoming Facebook was there, but as into advertise and Instagram was just a thing, or just becoming a thing. But for me, I would look at the inspiration for, magazines back then. There was so much more variety of like magazines that you could go, to your local supermarket or something, look through and look for inspiration. I think now there's just so much more variety, as in at your fingertips to, see what other people are doing in the world. Where like before I would be probably mentored by the people around me that, to go on that Vidal Sassoon cut and colour course and to maybe, go on certain courses, but where like now there's just so much more that you can see. I guess everything's more exposed now, even with like the media and stuff.
When you say about, and we're going to get into your career and I'm going to learn about your job title. I know we said in the intro a little bit of a lead and, I picked up on you don't work in a salon, and that will definitely get the attention of our listener, viewer that will be watching this or hearing this. But in terms of where you kind of got to, how hard has it been for you to get to where you are right now in your career?
It's hard to look back on now because for me, I'm already thinking, what am I going to do next week? Because that is my mindset. Whatever I've done that week, I'm already thinking, what's the next step? What's the next step? Because I don't have a manager. I don't have anybody say, Michael, you should be doing this. So
you're not represented by an
I'm not
agency.
represented by anybody. So for me, it's solely me. I do my own content. I do my, I manage my own books, tax, all of that. So for me, it's just me. I have thought about it, but if something was to come and if I believed in it, or if somebody believed in what I can do, then I'd go for it. But for me, so I moved to London when I was 22 and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working in a salon and they had a dress shop above on the top floor. It was 3 levels. It was hair, beauty, dresses. And I would always do the hairstyling for like the photo shoots. And I just loved that kind of side. No one really taught me how to, dress hair in front of camera or, to look at those little things, those little details. And I was actually, I got influenced to do modeling at the time as well. So for me, I was really torn where I wanted to go, where I was 22 and, I had like the likes of my dad saying, why don't you invest in a salon and, have a business and things like that. And I'm thinking, I'm 22. I've got a whole life to do that. But where I loved London, I knew that I wanted to be in London, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I saved up. Believe it or not, I did like singing, dance lessons, acting lessons, bit of presenter stuff just to gain confidence, and saved up, moved to London, and I've never looked back really. So for me, it was hard because I came here to do modeling, but in reality, I do little bits now, but I'm like 2-3 stone heavier than I was over 10 years ago. But for me, I wouldn't be in the position where I am today without the modeling. So for me, I was working with models. And
so when you say that you wouldn't be in the position of where you are today without doing the modeling, why?
So I wouldn't be in the position today because I learned how to be in front of camera. And I was working with other models, female models, and I got to know photographers, makeup artists, and I then started it was the time where like Pinterest was kind of coming around, and people would show me work on stuff on Pinterest, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that, but I don't have the evidence to back that up. So for me, I would just reach out to models I worked with and be like, hey, don't suppose I could cut and colour your hair for free in exchange for getting content? So I would colour the hair in the morning, do a full head of highlights, and then I would, in the afternoon, create content on a white backdrop. And for me, I utilised and basically just wanted to push the content that I wanted to do. And then that's how kind of brands got involved with.
So I'm going to just get in there on that particular point, because you were giving your time to a lot of this.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, they feel that they can just post on social, a bit of work, and it's all going to land on the lap. You've had to hustle hard.
Yeah.
And give your time on that. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe is looking at the world of editorial hairdressing?
I think for me, it was really important because when I moved to London, I've always been brought up in life, as long as I try my best and as long as I'm happy, that's what all my parents will ever ask for. So for me, I tried to do London Fashion Week. I did it. I liked it, but I didn't like being a number. Well, I'm sorry, what's your name again? I'm sorry, what's your name again? I'm Michael. And
That's interesting.
for me, I didn't like that, but I learned a lot from that. I knew that, oh, okay, well, I tried it. But there's a topic that will branch off that as well.